Yo, so I split this up unknowingly as I was editing the last video of Brakes Part 1. As I was editing it, I was already up to like 45 minutes and I still hadn't even gotten close to being done with what I'm doing now. So it would have been well over an hour. So I decided to just make that Part 1 and this will be Part 2. So just throwing that in there because obviously that video ended differently. So let's get back to it. All right, split second for you. Day 8,942 for me. So today, let's get to the master cylinder and the front brake lines. I'm gonna check the rear brake line once I got the front done and make sure it's the right one. Also, gotta adjust the coilovers and I gotta fix the sway bar. I put the end links in wrong, which I'm sure you already figured that out, but I know now. So let's see what it looks like. Completely dropped. I'd say that's pretty low. Let's see it from the whole side with no sun. I mean, it looks good. Obviously the back end needs to come down, but too bad you can't sit that low. There's no way. It sits directly on the fender. I said we go up about, so rule of thumb is bottom lip even with top of the tire. Might be able to get away with tucking this one just a little bit, but typically lip, top of tire, and that's good. But we'll see. We're gonna take off the master cylinder. I'm not gonna mess with the coilovers yet until I go to do the brake lines, because I'm gonna have to jack it up anyways. So let's get to it. All right, master cylinder is off. It's just those 4 studs and it just pops right off. Obviously you gotta take your brake lines off too. We're gonna remove that bad boy, whatever that is, and then we're gonna get the other booster and we're gonna read the instructions. Red. Let's do it. So before we can put the booster on, we've got to get this rod. Actually, no, scratch that. We just need to don't worry about the mess. We're gonna get to it. I'm just doing all the hard stuff first. Do the knick-knack stuff after these brakes are on. Well, we gotta get under there. We gotta get, you can't see nothing because the light. Oh. This ain't helping my back issues. You see that clip? Probably not, because I can't. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, that clip, right? Get out of the way. That clip right there. We got to get that clip off. And then we get that bolt out. And then we... Get out of the car. Pull the brake pedal off. And then once we've got the booster in, see how the rod is already in it? We connect it to the brake pedal. Not gonna try and bring you in here with me while I do it, because there is no room. So, split second. So I had to pull the whole brake pedal out because this, you need to pull this off, because where'd it go? Because this is where this one needs to go now. And because this wouldn't come out because it's just obviously old and tight. You gotta take a Phillips and a hammer and pop it out. So there we go. Now let's do that and get it put back in. I have no idea what that is. If you know what that is, let me know in the comments. I believe it's factory because they painted right over it. So. Finally. I'm sure it was sped up or cut for you, but those 4 bolts nuts took way too long. So, pedal is in, not 100%, but enough. Master cylinder's on. I'm trying to gauge how the pedal is. Trying to make sure it feels like when I press it, the rod is going in far enough, and I want to say I think it is. We'll know for sure once I get fluid in, because then obviously you'll know if it stops or not. So there's always a chance you could have to shorten the rod or lengthen the rod. So let's put on some, well, we got to put on the proportioning valve and then brake lines. So let's see how far we get with a little daylight I got left. So last night when I ended off, it was already getting too dark to keep recording, but I got the proportioning valve in. I just have these mocked up. We got to bleed the master cylinder, so these are just kind of mocked up. I got, this is the driver side brake line. After some bending and persuading, this is the passenger side line. And then the rear line I have sitting here waiting because it is a 2-piece line like I thought. So this second piece, it comes with this fitting to adapt both pieces to each other, and that will go on somewhere under there like that. I gotta redo this one because I put it on the wrong side of the frame. It's supposed to go, as you can see, it's supposed to go on the inside of the frame right there, and then back on this side, where I stuck it down on this side. So I gotta pull this one back up and then put it back down. Actually, I gotta pull this one back up, take off the old one, and then put this one back down. Oh, the brake line. Oh, never mind, it's e-brake. And of course, I got the fuel line and the wires all nicely zip tied and running off of that brake line. And I gotta undo all those. Supervisors are out, so gotta make sure I do it right. So let's get to it. Oh, let's not get all those. going. All right, so finally we are at bleeding the brakes. So tightened, just I don't have the clip on it yet. Other side is tightened, rear is tightened. So now we can get to bleeding the brakes. If you mess with old school cars enough, I'm sure you already have a master cylinder bleeder kit. All it is some screw-ins. This front one is smaller than the rear one. It's some screw-ins with some clear line. You want the clear line so you can see the air bubbles. And then it comes with these little clips that hold it in. And the tube, you want the tube as far down as you can get it, but without actually touching the bottom. You want there to be a little bit of space so it sucks the fluid in. And now we get to it. And this will let us know if our pedal is long enough or too long. Come on. Jeez. Almost like they don't want you to have it. I'm not a fan of how angled this is, but that's just how it is. Oh, almost a little bit too much. So, I'm gonna try and set you here so that you can see what it does. So, you should see bubbles. All right, so you just keep hitting that pedal until all those air bubbles you see in the lines are no more. So it's gonna be a good amount of times. So don't be surprised if you do it 20 times and there's still bubbles. Just keep doing it until there's no more air bubbles in there. And so now I will bleed the brakes. I'm running out of daylight. So I would probably do the brakes. So you do first, second, third, fourth. And that's how you do which ones you bleed first, second, third, fourth. And then we will see how much pedal we got. I don't have anybody here to hold the pedal, so I'm gonna do it like I always do and just get up, down, up, down, up, down, hit the pedal about 10 times, get down, bleed it, back, forth. So I will see y'all in a split second, but tomorrow for me. Captain's log. Day 8,462. It is rainy with a chance of meatballs. All right, so we are back, obviously, and it is like 38 degrees and raining. But tomorrow is Sunday. It's supposed to be no different, and I'm leaving Monday to go out of town for a week, so it's just bugging me that I'm this far behind. So I'm gonna put the tie rods in, I'm gonna adjust the coilovers, and then I'm gonna put it back on the ground, and I'm gonna retest the brakes, because where I left off yesterday when I ran out of daylight again, the brakes were not working 100% like they should have been. I adjusted the pedal length, blah blah blah. Every time I would tap the brakes a couple times and get pressure built, it would stop the rear wheels. When I'd put it in gear and the wheel spin, it would stop with a couple tap 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 and then press, like it was building pressure. But then you let off and you let the wheel spin, and then you hit it once, it wouldn't do anything. So I don't know if it's the brake booster. I don't know if the rear wheel cylinders, if the shoes just need to be adjusted more. I do have to there's a spring that connects to right above the brake pedal. It connects there and it goes to the brake pedal. And I'm pretty sure that gives it some stiffness, or maybe that's just supposed to bring the pedal back to you. But I don't have that issue, so I don't see how that spring could be the issue. But I've bled the master cylinder twice. I've bled the brakes 4 times. There's absolutely no air. So I'm hoping that the brand new kit didn't come with a faulty brake booster, because when the car's not running, it has a great stiff pedal, but when it's running, it just kind of goes to the floor. So that sounds like a bad brake booster to me, but I'm going to get the vehicle. I want to get the vehicle down on the ground with all of its weight and see what it does just moving kind of back and forth here in the driveway. So I will let you watch me get wet and cold. All right, so you saw me giving the thumbs up. Brakes are working great. I mean, as soon as I hit the pedal, those fronts definitely lock up. So with what I was saying about the rears, where they kept spinning unless I pumped it a couple times, that just means that the rears need to be adjusted. The shoes, the adjuster screw needs to be adjusted. But that was, oh my goodness, I can't even tell you the absolute night and day difference with those brakes on it compared to the junk that came off of it. It doesn't feel, so when you first start to go on the pedal, you're like, okay, I don't feel nothing, and all of a sudden it's like you just hit a wall. So that's awesome. I do have some bad news though. So don't do what I did. So you see the fuse block and you see where it's at directly under that. So the first time I bled the brakes and I bled the master cylinder, once I was taking the plastic fittings out, obviously brake fluid just came down and it got all in the fuse block, and it it corroded the wires. So it starts up perfectly fine, but now it has an issue shutting off. It's like it doesn't shut power off to the relay now, so it'll sit there and run with the key off, and it runs horribly because it's trying to cut off, but it doesn't want to cut off, so it stays on, and then it tries to cut off, and then back and forth. So there's a good chance I might have to replace this whole engine harness, which isn't too hard. It's just that's more so embarrassing to me that I did that. So, but brakes wise, awesome. I gotta adjust the coilovers even more. It came up a little bit. It came up some, but I gotta adjust them way more. I need to go up at least an inch, if not more. So I mean, I guess I would say that is it for the brakes and suspension. Brakes are working perfectly, just need to slightly adjust those, but other than that, 100% complete. I believe we might be doing the rear suspension, so you might see another video of me doing rear springs, which it would be a Hotchkiss kit. So hopefully we can do that, because we definitely need to lower that rear end down some, at least an inch. But the wheel spacing isn't that, or the back spacing isn't that great on these wheels. Not a fan of these wheels, because I think whoever put them on there, I think they just saw that they were Chevy bolt pattern and they threw them on there, and they don't have the correct back spacing for these older vehicles. These older vehicles, like 60s, 70s, 50s, blah blah blah, you want zero offset on your wheels. You don't want it to be plus or negative. You want it to be zero offset, with, like, rule of thumb is a 10-inch rim, you want 5.5-inch back spacing. An 8-inch rim, you want 4.5-inch back spacing. I believe these are, that definitely looks 10 inches wide. I'm gonna go on a strong limb and say that one's 8 inches wide, but we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, appreciate y'all watching. As always, watching y'all, watching me, watching you. So if you got any questions, hit me up. Go down in the description, follow me, check out my Facebook page if you're interested in sending a vehicle to me, maybe get some work done. And then through that, you can talk to me about digits and all that. So I'm cold, my butt's wet. It's time to go outside. I'll see y'all next time.